Can the average player unlock Orion Camo in Modern Warfare 2? Let's answer that question as we go through 51 weapons and over 180 camos. This journey will be long, and it won't be easy, but we won't stop until we unlock those coveted mastery camos. This is Modern Warfare 2 Journey to Orion. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gordon and welcome to the first episode of Journey to Orion, where we're gonna be going through all 51 guns in the game in complete random order. In today's episode we're gonna be getting D6 in gold camo, so let's start with one of the most powerful guns in the game, the SPR-208. Alright, the SPR-208, one of my favorite guns from Modern Warfare 2019, the quick-scoping beast is back in full force. This is also your access to the faster and arguably more popular SAB-50, since it's part of the same platform. Now, the advantage of this being part of a larger platform is that it doesn't have as many levels, it only has 16, which means getting to those two final camos shouldn't be an issue. One nice thing to note is that this thing is really good with its iron sights. You don't really need any kind of scope for it. Even for medium or long ranges, if you can shoot your target with these iron sights, and you can because they're really clean, then go for it. You don't really need a scope for it. And it's not like you'll need them anyway because we're sticking with 6v6. And part of the reason we're doing that is that we want to acquire this aggressive sniping skill so that we can use it with the other sniper rifles and the SAB-50 later on. And even the Lockwood Mark II. It works similarly. Now the SPR is the best way to start with this as it has the most consistent one-shot kills in the marksman rifle category. However, the bad part about this thing is that you do have challenges for prone kills and mounted kills. Those are really annoying, and those are definitely going to slow down your playstyle. Now, having to do this for the sake of camos is something I really dislike, but whatever, what can we do? We have to get this done anyway. Now, what I would recommend for this is to go to hardpoint or domination and position yourself in strategic places where you have good concealment so that you can actually enable this passive playstyle that we have to deal with now. Yes, we have to get campy, yes, it's annoying, and yes, we have to get it done, and so long as you get about 10 of those kills per match, then you should be good. Like 3 matches at most of this torture. It's gonna be over quickly, okay? It's gonna be over quickly, just deal with it. The playstyle will be similar for both anyway, and another thing I can recommend is for you to equip a pistol or a knife, so that you can reposition yourself much quicker. Now finally, for that gold camo on those 3 kill streaks, I would avoid objective game modes. This gun is very much risk and reward, and the risk is a little too high in objective game mode, especially if you're trying to play the objective. So don't do that, go to your TDMs, your kill confirms, maybe domination even, and just play the Slayer. Just don't focus on playing objectives when you're going for 3 kill streaks. Again, too much risk for this super risk-reward kind of gun. The other idea of starting with this gun in particular is it's very high skill compared to most automatic rifles in the game, right? And we want to acquire many different skills from many different kinds of weapons so that we make the journey not only more interesting, but we are also more capable with our guns as we move on to things that are more reliable or more powerful, unlike our next gun. The Bell 46. Okay, hear me out. I've always loved SMGs. Those have been my main kinds of weapons in Call of Duty history, and the MP7 has always been one of the most powerful, but not in this game. I'm gonna be honest, I struggled quite a lot with the Bell 46 when I started this. I came back to it later and started to perform better. I think I just got better at the game naturally, but the Bell 46 was quite annoying to deal with. I think part of the reason is that SMGs in Modern Warfare 2 aren't that powerful. Even up close, you're much better off with an assault rifle, and SMGs sometimes take a little too long to kill, even if they are supposed to have faster fire rates and whatnot. But I think that's what made me struggle with the Bell 46 at first. The natural balance factor for this has always been that SMGs can be more aggressive than ARs. The problem in this game is that ARs melt you, and that will happen to you. That will happen, and you will have, once again, to deal with it. Of course, what you have to do instead is you have to make use of this extra mobility and make people miss shots against you, of course. You can strafe faster. And maybe you should build classes that allow for faster speeds with the MP7, or the level 46 rather. And that's sort of your objective. You have to evolve your own personal aggressive playstyle. It's much more difficult in this game. It's definitely not rewarded in the slightest. Sitting in a corner, sitting in a head ledge is much more rewarding, I know. But that's not something that you can really pull off with these guns. Maybe the Vastnet, I haven't used that yet. But most SMGs, you don't have that kind of luxury, so you have to deal with its actual strengths. Mobility. You will need to learn this skill for when we use the other SMGs as well as the shotguns, and even the sniper rifles, the quick-scoping sniper rifles, are more about aggression than anything, even though they can also enable long-range engagements, but they're not that effective, so you might as well learn how to be aggressive. And this is a good place to start with a challenging gun. That being said, the first 3 camos are really easy. 50 kills, 50 ADS kills, and 15 hipfire kills. Those will just come naturally to you. The one that we may struggle with is 10 double kills. Now here's the thing. To level up the gun, and this has a lot of levels, I've been using the sort of decoy grenade on kill confirmed method. We've all known about this. I know this is not the most effective method anymore, but this is what I've been using. And by the time we get to level 28 for those double kills, you don't really need to use the decoy grenades anymore because you're pretty much at max level. The only thing that you might try to rush towards is weapon tuning, but that's not necessary for double kills. Those are not gonna help you get those any faster. So at that point, I would much rather recommend you take out those decoy grenades for flashbangs. Maybe stuns, but flashbangs are much superior in this game. One last thing for both double kills as well as 3 kill streaks is equip the 60 round mag. Okay, hear me out. It's low, I know, but you may actually need that whole 60 rounds to get double kills. That's kind of the problem, like I said. SMG, not accurate. Sometimes you just miss a lot of shots. Sometimes even people strafe you with assault rifles. It's weird, but sometimes it happens. You need as much firepower as you can have. And this thing doesn't have an awful lot of firepower, so you might as well increase the ammo count, and that will help a lot, trust me. What you won't need that much help with is the high power AK, the Beast, the Kastov 762. What defines this gun? It deletes you. It's absolutely one of the most powerful ARs in this whole game. Maybe not the best, but one of the best. It's one that absolutely enables the passive playstyle, probably more than the others, because part of it being strong is that it has very poor recoil control, okay? So what you may need to do as a result is to equip attachments that help you with recoil control in general. Those tend to slow you down, which means that you won't be that aggressive with this thing, okay? So you're doing basically what people have been doing to you when you were using the Bell 46. It's pretty much payback. You now be passive and kill them all as they come to you. That's the whole point of this. And you pretty much earn this. So if you recall what you were doing with the SPR when you were doing prone and mounted kills, you're doing something similar with this thing. And guess what? The second challenge is mounted kills. Now fortunately this one is actually very early on, level 8. It's 20 of those, but you get to be done with this really early in this run. After that, what you'll have to do is 50 ADS kills at level 14, which is, you know, just nothing. But then at level 20, you get one of the worst challenges in this whole game. 15 kills from behind. Oh lord. 15 kills from behind. So, I have 2 ways to look at this. The easiest, though way slower method of doing this is to go to ground war. Grab a vehicle, go to the enemy spawn, and start killing enemies in, say, their home flag or in the sea flag, whatever. Position yourself in a building and just start killing enemies that are not suspecting you're there. That's possibly the easiest way to do this, but it's also extremely boring. Just don't. I tried to do this. I could not bear it for more than 3 matches. At that point I was like, no, I'm doing the rest by just chance. And that's the second method, is to just do it by chance. Go to 6v6, focus more on flanking this time around. Maybe do equip again a pistol or a knife on objective game modes like hardpoint, and focus on flanking. Don't do anything else other than just flank the objective, put yourself in there, learn the enemy spawn first, right? Learn where they are spawning for the most part, and abuse that, and then just start shooting them in the back. That doesn't always work. Sometimes enemies have amazing awareness, and even if you are right behind them, they somehow know that you're there, and they will turn their back and shoot you on sight. Somehow that happens all the time to me, it may not to you. So it's worth a shot. The other thing, not a real method, but again it's more about chance, is if you get yourself into close range engagements with another person, what you have to do now is to strafe to their back and kill them. It's completely unreliable, and that's part of the reason why I absolutely despise this challenge. And it's not the only gun that gets this. Fortunately, it's not a super popular challenge, at least as of yet. But that's kind of how you have to approach this. Finally, when it comes to the 3 kill streaks, do not be afraid to go back to mounting, actually. Yeah, and slow, but it helps a lot with the recoil with this thing, right? And since you're gonna be not super aggressive, right, then mounting is not a horrible idea. I also forgot to mention that for anything that is related to mounted kills, I will recommend that you grab yourself a deployable shield, because you can plant that basically anywhere on the map, and it's a free spot for mounted kills, because a lot of the buildings or random rocks or random whatever doodads that there are on the map, sometimes they just don't have a good mounting position. Sometimes you mount a thing and you lose like half your vision, but with a deployable shield or deployable cover, whatever the hell it's called, you don't. It's super reliable for that sense, so use that whenever you need to, and for this gun in particular, you may actually want to mount a little bit more often than not. But alright, that wasn't too bad at the end. However, we're back to the struggle with the next gun. The PDSW 528, or the P90. P90 has always been my favorite SMG in Call of Duty, and in this game it's kind of disappointing. It's not that powerful. I had the wrong idea that this for some reason would be better than the Bell 46 when I used it. It's not. It's honestly just as good, even though it's supposed to have higher caliber, I think. But okay, the one advantage it does have is that high capacity magazine, 50 rounds from the get-go, though you can't ever improve it or reduce it for better ADS speeds, but you know, nature of the P90. What you do have is a neat rail attachment. It's completely useless, and if for some reason you can use those ungodly awful iron sights, then you're good. Otherwise, use a sight. I could not use the iron sights on this thing, so I actually used the rail that gives you the iconic P90 square sight, which is actually kind of neat. It works quite well in this game, I'll admit. Those will come useful for those ADS kill challenges, but the next one is hip fire, and at that point you may even completely forego any kind of sight attachment. I didn't, but you know, the other cool thing about this is that the next challenge is point blank kills. Now those are not cool challenges, but it's cool that it's so similar to hip fire, so if you now make a hip fire based build, then you know, point blanks are going to be pretty much the exact same challenge, other than you'll have to treat this more like a shotgun at that point, because that's where point blank kills activate. It's annoying, but it's honestly not the worst thing in the world. Now if you manage to make this nice specialized build by this point, then 3 kill streaks should not be that much of an issue. You have now learned how to use an SMG thanks to the Bell 46, so playstyle is pretty much similar, and honestly there's not that much to say with this thing other than it has an awful lot of levels, 30 of those. That's quite a lot. It's the big disadvantage of having a weapon that's not part of a larger weapon platform. I know that you can use methods in the DMC with contracts and whatnot to level up weapons faster, and that's perfectly fine, but here's the thing, especially with guns like this aren't really great, what I would prefer all of us do at this point, it's just a recommendation, is for us to level up these guns as if we were doing it like any other Call of Duty, right? No exploits, no glitches, no nothing like that, because we're going to have to get 3 kill streaks anyway, and that's the toughest challenge by far. And to get those 3 kill streaks, we need to learn how to use the gun. If we go from level 1 to level 30 with 1 exploit, yeah, we have access to all of the challenges at once, and yes, we'll have 3 kill streaks at some point, but it's just gonna feel boring. You're not going to feel this sort of sense of progression with the gun. You're gonna be using the exact same super fully optimized build the entire run. I think it's less interesting that way, and also you learn a lot less about the gun. You definitely understand a gun more as you progress it further and further and further than if you just have the meta build immediately available. So that's why I would encourage us to use this method of decoy grenade in Kill Confirmed or anything else that's faster, but so long as you're using the gun itself. But ran over. Now on to the next gun. The first shotgun of the series, the Brysson 800, your standard pump action shotty. Now, fun fact, did you know that Brysson is actually based on Remington, so this technically makes it the R870. Remember that one from Black Ops 2? Okay. The reason why we did 2 SMGs before a shotgun is specifically because shotgun is super specialized in close quarters combat, as we all know. You now have a clear basis of how the playstyle works, and you have developed your own kind of aggressive playstyle. So you understand now how to use a shotgun a lot better. Where it changes, of course, is that this is much more reliant on one-shot kills. Here's the thing, you are an absolute monster up close. People will hate you. You will hear a lot of rage chat because of this thing, okay? However, you shouldn't limit yourself to super short ranges because we all know Modern Warfare 2's aggressive playstyle is not encouraged, which means that you will die a lot from people that are just camping at ranges. So what you should have done with the SMGs is of course a way to flank around objectives, a way to not expose yourself too much. And if you haven't done that, then you will do that now. You will be forced to not be anywhere near any kind of long-range line of sight, okay? So close quarters only. The reason I say you shouldn't force yourself to be like that is that this shotgun at least has really good range capabilities, mainly enabled by silencer attachments, which is not something I will recommend very often in this series. However, with shotguns, they are quite helpful, so you should consider them. Now, you shouldn't concern yourself too much with anything that's about recoil control with this thing. You're hip firing, recoil control doesn't really matter. Where it could impact the playstyle is if you're trying to go for those ADS shots, which is not a bad thing to do, but the visual recoil is actually quite high on these guns. So you can do that and you will likely get yourself a one-shot one kill with that, but you'll also lose sight of any follow-up target with it. So I wouldn't recommend you do that for double kills, or maybe do that as your finishing shot, but don't expect to keep track of all of your targets if your ADS killing. Again, visual recoil is really high with this. A bit of a rule of thumb that I have with this gun is that if I didn't kill an enemy in 2 shots, then I'm pretty much dead. I should forget about that target. They likely run away and are waiting for me to engage, and that's exactly when I lose those gunfights. So don't bother. 1 or 2 shots, if you didn't kill them, get the fuck out, go somewhere else, grab another target. The only reason why I think you should have follow-up shots after a second one if you didn't kill them is if you have a clear opportunity for a double kill. Only then, because double kills can be quite annoying. Now, for those I will recommend hardpoint and play inside and around the objective. Okay, you want to funnel as many enemies as possible into one closed area, and that's where you specialize. And pretty much the same thing for 3 kill streaks. But here's the thing, what I am doing with shotguns myself is I basically let my instincts take the wheel when it comes to 3 kill streaks. What I mean by that is that it's all about reflexes at that point. I understand where my advantage areas are on every map. I understand where the close areas are. I understand what areas of the hardpoint I can abuse, where people are coming in, and it's sort of these tactics that you now have to stop thinking about. And instead, all you need to do is rely on your reflexes. Your entire brain should be focusing on reflex. You see an enemy, you immediately snap in onto them, shoot them, kill them, move on to the next one, and don't think about it. You cannot have second thoughts about this gun. It's all about sending it, pretty much. But ladies and gentlemen, we saved the best for last. You know it, you love it. The STB-556, the close-range monster of the assault rifle category. This thing is the best aggressive assault rifle in the game. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have capabilities in other areas as well. It has fairly decent recoil control and it's quite powerful, which means that you can take this at least to medium ranges and have some degree of success, no problem. The playstyle of this thing is quite dynamic. Be aggressive, be passive, do whatever you want with this thing and it'll work. Now, what are the perfect challenges for such an aggressive gun? Mounted and crouched. Listen, Infinity Ward works in weird ways. Sometimes they'll give you the tools for one specialized job, and then they'll tell you to do a completely different kind of job. And that's the case with this gun. Mounted kills, okay, we've dealt with this before. Give yourself a deployable cover and just do your thing, okay? 10 of those per match, you're done. It's level 8 challenge, so yeah, you're gonna get this done immediately. It's still annoying that we have to do it. The next one is double kills though, and not saying that that's a problematic challenge, because again, this gun will kill, and it will kill really good. It's just weird that it's the second last challenge in this whole thing. And the final one is crouched kills. I mean, do the same thing that you were doing with the Kastov at this point. It's okay, it's fine. I guess something that you should watch out for when you're doing crouched kills is if you have it on the same setting as sliding. at least with mouse and keyboard, or I think it also happens with controllers, but make sure you're not accidentally sliding, because you can't shoot while sliding, and yeah, it's a problem. You will have to be more passive with this kind of challenge, but honestly, it's just 20. Okay, sure, fine. You're done with that, and for those 3 kill streaks, you are back to your beautiful, dynamic, aggressive playstyle. And that's where this thing absolutely shines, and I say this for last because it's the most powerful, okay? You should not struggle with 3 kill streaks with this, and now you have 5 other completely different guns under your belt, and with completely different playstyles as well, so you can take the best parts of all of those playstyles and apply them here. You've learned how to be aggressive, you've learned how to be passive, you learned how to use a risk and reward gun. All of those tools are pretty much what you need to use this gun effectively, and you'll be getting those 3 kill streaks in no time. You pretty much already have gold the minute you started using this thing. That's how you should look at it, and that's pretty much it for now. So that's going to do it for the first episode of Journey to Orion. I hope you join us on the next one, because the journey continues in the next episode. Goodbye!